Me? Is he delirious? Wait, don't answer that. Eh, 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 eh. Within the hour, McHale and a very confused Parker were standing in Binghamton's office. The captain lay in bed, looking sick in the way an actor in a bad silent movie looks sick. McHale, I'm in bad shape, Binghamton whispered. You're the acting executive officer. Oh, boy. Did you hear that, Skipper? Parker beamed. You won't regret this, sir. As soon as they left, Binghamton sat bolt upright, a predatory grin on his face. They're gonna turn this place into a Roman orgy, and Rafferty is going to see every bit of it. He wasn't wrong. Within 2 hours, McHale had authorized a shindig for the boys. The Petty Officers Club was hosting a hula dance competition, and the missing garter belts had finally been found and distributed mostly to the nurses who were currently dancing on the tables. Skip! The boys want to rake in some dough with a little gambling action. Gruber, the crew's resident entrepreneur, suggested. McHale, distracted by a dozen ringing phones and a plumbing crisis, waved a hand. Full speed ahead. Gruber, just keep it down! But the peace didn't last. The radar room buzzed. Admiral Rafferty's plane was touching down. Iron pants, McHale shouted. Panic stations. Parker, get those girls out of here. Hide the booze. Hide the hula dancers. Where? Skip. The air raid shelter. Move. The transition from island party to strict naval base happened with the speed of a torpedo launch. By the time Rafferty's jeep pulled up, McHale was standing at rigid attention, though he was accidentally wearing a lei around his neck. Welcome to Taratupa, sir, McHale saluted. Acting Base Commander McHale at your service. Rafferty, a man whose face appeared to be carved out of granite, stared at the lei. What the devil is that thing around your neck? An old native custom, sir. Welcoming ceremony. Parker chimed in. Hanson, stop that gibberish. Rafferty snapped. I want to see Binghamton. And then I want to see this base. Binghamton, hearing the Admiral's arrival, decided to double down. He stayed in the hospital, but he couldn't resist the urge to plant a seed of destruction. When Rafferty visited his bedside, Binghamton whispered, Admiral, you must check the air raid shelter. It's disgraceful. McHale, he's got hula girls in there. Rafferty's eyes narrowed. He marched to the shelter, followed by a sweating McHale and Parker. Open it, Rafferty ordered. Parker fumbled with the keys. Inside, 30 hula dancers and several cases of illegal gin were huddled in the dark. But McHale was faster. He whispered to the girls to act like they were part of a fire drill. When the door opened, the girls marched out in perfect formation, led by a nurse carrying a bucket. Fire drill 100% successful, sir, Parker shouted. Rafferty looked at Binghamton, who had followed them in his pajamas. Binghamton, you're delirious. Hula girls? These are nurses doing their duty. Get back to bed before I have you committed for combat fatigue. Binghamton screamed as he was dragged away. They were dancing. I saw them wiggling. Chapter 3. The Sultan and the Masquerade. Peace returned to Taratupa for exactly 12 minutes. Then, a new message arrived. The Sultan of Marami and his 3 daughters were arriving. They had been forced down by engine trouble, and the Navy wanted to make a feather in their cap by hosting them. Binghamton, recovered from his illness, but more obsessed than ever with destroying McHale, saw another chance. I'll send McHale out on a fake recon mission to Aku Aku. Get him off the base while the Sultan is here. I want the glory for myself. But fate, as usual, had a sense of humor. The Sultan's plane landed near McHale's patrol area. It was the crew of PT-73 who rescued the royal party. Greetings, Your Highness, McHale said, bowing. I am Commander McHale. We are here to serve you. The Sultan, a man of immense dignity and even more immense luggage, looked at the PT boat. A fascinating craft. I should like to drive it. Drive it, sir? Parker asked. It's a torpedo boat, not a Buick. Let him, Parker, McHale whispered. The Sultan took the wheel and nearly ran the boat onto a reef, laughing the whole way. By the time they reached the base, the Sultan was McHale's biggest fan. This infuriated Binghamton to the point of a near stroke. At the state dinner that night, Binghamton invited the Sultan and his daughters. However, unbeknownst to Binghamton, one of the daughters, Princess Siri, had snuck off for a secret boat ride with Virgil, one of Mikhail's men. Panic ensued. If the Sultan found out the daughter was missing, it would be an international incident. "We need a replacement," Mikhail whispered to the crew. "Parker, get the grass skirt." "Skip, no. My legs are too hairy. It's for the Navy, Chuck." "Shave 'em." The dinner was a nightmare of epic proportions. Parker, dressed in a veil and a silk robe, sat at the table trying to look mysterious while avoiding the Sultan's gaze. Binghamton, suspicious as ever, kept eyeing the princess. "Your Highness, your daughter seems exceptionally tall today," Binghamton remarked. "She has had a growth spurt." The Sultan grunted, busy eating. Then, the Sultan insisted his daughters dance. The two real princesses began a graceful Marani dance. Parker had to follow suit. He started a bizarre hybrid of a hula and a football touchdown dance. "She is very spirited," the Sultan said, looking confused. Binghamton couldn't take it. He noticed Parker's combat boots peeking out from under the silk robe. "Aha! An impostor!" he screamed. He lunged at the princess, ripping off the veil. "I've got you, you phony Balinese bunny." He didn't find Parker. In a frantic switch, the real Princess Siri had returned just seconds before, and it was she whom Binghamton had just tackled to the floor. The Sultan rose, his face thunderous. "You dare lay hands on a royal princess? Infidel, I will raid your Washington." Binghamton was left groveling on the floor as the Sultan stormed out. "Why me?" he wailed. "Why is it always me?" Chapter 4: Laughing Gas and the Dead-Eye Ensign. The following week, Parker was facing a fitness board. Binghamton was determined to break him down to Seaman's second class. July 16th. Binghamton read from the record. Ensign Parker torpedoed a garbage scow because he thought it was a camouflaged Japanese submarine. August 1st. He accidentally shot down a target plane during a drill. While the target was still on the ground, Mikhail knew he had to save his friend. "We need to get the captain in a better mood. Something to jolly him up." The crew managed to acquire a tank of nitrous oxide from the base dentist. The plan was simple. Spray the gas into Binghamton's office during the hearing. "Just a little blast," Mikhail instructed. "He'll be so happy he'll promote Parker to admiral." They pumped the gas through the window. Inside, Binghamton was midway through a rant when the gas hit. His face transformed. A giggle escaped him. Then a guffaw. "You know, Parker." Binghamton wheezed, tears of laughter streaming down his face. "That garbage scow. It really did look like a sub. Ha ha ha. Chucky Wucky, you're a riot." "Sir?" Parker asked, sniffing the air. "Are you all right?" "I'm wonderful. I love everyone. I love the Navy. I love Mikhail." But the gas was too potent. Binghamton wandered out of his office, singing at the top of his lungs, just as a Japanese scout plane appeared on the horizon. The base went into an immediate red alert. "The flies, the frangipani flies, are attacking," Binghamton shouted, pointing at the plane. Parker, also slightly buzzed by the drifting gas, staggered to a machine gun mount. He was seeing 3 planes. "I'll get 'em, Skip. I'll get all of 'em." He closed his eyes, spun the gun around in a dizzying circle, and pulled the trigger. By some miracle of ballistics and sheer luck, a single stray bullet hit the scout plane's fuel line. The plane exploded in a spectacular fireball. Admiral Shoemaker, who had arrived for the fitness board, watched in awe. Magnificent. That boy stood in the face of death, laughing, and took down the enemy with a single-handed burst. "He's a combat hero." Binghamton, still high on gas, threw his arms around the admiral. "Let's have a party. I've got champagne in my piggy bank." The fitness board was cancelled. Parker was a hero, and Binghamton woke up the next morning with the mother of all headaches and a commendation on his desk for fostering a high-morale environment. Chapter 5. Sydney the Witness. The rivalry between Binghamton and McHale